All right. We know the event's sponsored by Daiwa. We know it's an Australian Open. We know it's in Sydney. The chances of not having Mark Crompton on the show tonight were absolutely nothing at all. So, Cromo, welcome to the show, mate. You know you're not a household of two. You're a household of three, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Well, we're actually a household of four. We've got our 14-year-old niece that lives with us as well.
Nice.
But, yeah, it was great to get Albie home. We thanked our lucky stars when we walked through the door with him, that's for sure.
Mate, anyone that's not friends with you on social media, give us a bit of a rundown. You and Danielle were expecting soon, like around now it would have been happening, but give us a rundown what happened.
Yeah, so he was actually due on Anzac Day. He ended up coming basically about 2.5 months early. So he came on the 8th of February. We didn't get much of a heads up. It was panic stations for about a week. We honestly thought we probably would lose him.
Yeah.
We got bloody lucky, mate. It was one of those things. We got really, really unlucky and really, really lucky at the same time. And the chain of events thereafter have been no different. Really, it's been so up and down. It's But from that happening within sort of a month thereafter that, we're facing potentially closing a business down because of the COVID-19. Guys that we employ that were scratching their heads because sites were closing down left, right and centre. We were up in the air and still hadn't got him home. I was spending 8 hours a day at the hospital, or sometimes more. Danny was, there as well, sort of trading. Danny couldn't drive, until I think it was about 6 weeks after, because she had a C-section. So hectic time, mate. Really hectic time. I was, I picked a good year to have off.
Well, 2020, a lot of guys, it's the best and worst year of your life all at once, isn't it? This one. You'll remember it for many reasons.
Yeah, most definitely. It's one of those things that just so lucky and so unlucky together, and it's just meshed out nicely. Yeah, I would never have got time off work if it wasn't for COVID-19. So I'm lucky. I'm at home. Danny's inside with Albie, and I'm able to take a couple months off work if I want. So it's great. Great.
Mate, that's awesome, mate. Well, this week, of course, we would have just finished fishing the Australian Open. You were the winner in 2018, mate, and it really put that final feather in your cap, didn't it, to win that event? Oh, you've got him coming, have you?
Oh, I do. She just hang on, no. She's in a minute.
Okay, all right. Tell us about that time you won the Australian Open in 2018. Only a couple of years ago now. You had to hand the trophy to Jamie McEwen last year. But I think I handed
my mouth.
It was a magical week for you. I think 3 bags, all over 4 kilos, out of some of your favourite arenas, mate. What's one of your highlight fish from that event that really sticks in your mind?
You know what? To be brutally honest, the highlight fish was one that I lost. I didn't get it in the boat on day 3. I was fishing by myself near the monument, your favourite, and I'd hooked 2 fish just before I dropped that fish, and they were both really good fish. And that sort of bolstered my bag. And I was sort of sitting there thinking, okay, I've definitely got to have a 3 odd kilo now, probably 3.5 kilo. And then I hooked a giant, and it just came straight to the boat, not a problem, and decided just to start shaking its head like a black brim. And when I saw it, I thought, it's a flathead, because it had such a wide head. Yeah. I knew it had a fair bit of weight there. And then when I saw it side on and then the lure coming back at my head, it was one of those, I've just blown it, that's it, I've just blown the Open, it's all over. And coming back to the weigh in, I thought I was gone because of that fish. And that was definitely the most memorable one, because I was like, there you go, I've just lost the Open with that one fish. That sort of thing has happened to me before. The Australian Championships, I went down to Stewie Dunn, probably the best bloke in the place to go down to because he's a champion, but one fish and I dropped it, and it would have made the difference with winning that. Everybody's got that story, but that day I thought, that's the one. It's just blown it for me.
Well, it's a day of highs and lows for you, because we got some highlights footage playing in the background here of the weigh-in, of that final weigh-in. And you know what it's like. You always have to beat either a Hickson or a Cannizzaro or someone who's an absolute gut on the waterway. And bang, you put the fish on the scales and out it came. would have been great to share that moment with your wife, Danielle, who helps us at ABT so much. You know, it wasn't just a Mark Crompton moment, it was a Crompton
No,
family.
it was a full family moment, wasn't it? Like, you know, we've all shared really good time together, helping behind the scenes, helping at the events, just being around everybody. You guys were there, Danny was there, here she is now.
We can see her in the mirror, mate. We can see her sneaking up.
You can see her in the mirror. Go on, introduce him. Yeah, so no, that was a spectacular day. We had an absolute ball. So, but
awesome. So this is little Albie.
It is.
Little Albie.
Yeah. He's still got one tube in him. He's still tube feeding some feeds, but it's a two-man job still what we're doing. So now
the question everyone wants to know, is he named after the reel?
You know what? Yeah, he is. My dad and granddad. Dad gave me a reel when I was young. Said, "Here you go. This is an Albie. They're strong, indestructible, dependable." Yep. And you can't kill him. Yes. So, we thought a fitting name. You know,
a fitting name. That's right. And he started off as a little 4-inch. He's getting up to be like a 7-inch beach reel now, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, that's what he's named after. A big snapper reel. Like it's it's a chunky snapper reel. So. He's a miracle, mate.
And Danielle, since we've got you on here at the moment, we're winding back to 2018, talking about the time Mark won the Oz Open. It was great to have you there sharing with him, because all of the images and the photos and the footage we got, it was a real team effort, wasn't it, from you guys? You're the one behind the scenes makes it all happen.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad everybody realises that.
Yeah, making the lunches, making the dinners. Yeah, definitely.
No, it was amazing, actually. Like, I remember sitting at the desk just waiting for it to be announced, and I had butterflies in my stomach. I was so nervous and excited for him. And it was amazing. It was just before we went off to Tassie too. So we went off to Tassie on an absolute high. You know, it was great.
Yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time.
Yeah.
And I nearly didn't fish that event too. We were flat out with work.
Yeah.
And it just got to the stage where I was like, if I'm going to fish it, it's going to be last minute, and we'll just rock up. And, luckily, work just opened up and I was able to do it.
That's awesome, mate. The event's sponsored by Daiwa, and a fellow plumber, actually, Graham Franklin, pulled it out of the ashes and turned it back into an event. You've got that relationship, of course, with Daiwa as well, and it seems like always a bit of karma kicks in with these events, because naming sponsor of the event, their sponsored angler wins. The Daiwa gear must have played a fair bit into that win. The question I got for you is, if you had one rod, reel, line, lure to spend the last hour fishing the Open to catch an Open winning fish, what outfit would it be and what would you chuck?
Well, back then it was a 0, right, 2 to 4. They've been sort of superseded now. Now it would definitely be a battler in the water zombie, 2 to 4. AGS guides, those things are light as all buggery and sensitive, like nothing else I've ever really used, and I love them. They're a great rod. I think what Tommy's got in the future with a couple of the rods he's been, I won't speak too much about it out of school, but I've had a bit of a part, as well as Hickson and a few other guys in development of it, and they'll definitely be something that I think people will be surprised with. So,
and mate, what lure would you throw in what situation to win the Open? Run us through that.
To win the Open, you know what? Can I pick 2?
Just one. One outfit going in it with.
To win it, it'd be a crab. It'd be a cranky crab, definitely. To win it, for sure. The other choice that I would have had would have been a Z-Man grub, only because you can chuck it, everywhere. And that whole comp, I had that the Z-Man grub and the crab the entire time, pretty much. Yeah. And I was doing a few tweaks to the crab though at the time. I don't know if you remember. I found the UV was definitely something that was turning things on, and I painted a few up in the UV colour, and that's probably that's partly where Steersy was a bit of previous development of the UV crab, and that made a big difference, I think. Well, obviously it did, because everybody was doing the same thing. So.
Well, that's awesome, mate. I know that a few of the Daiwa pro staffers, like I know Simon Goldsmith, he called his daughter Stella. It's a Shimano reel. You've called your son Alvy, which is an Alvy reel. I reckon I worked out just now why you don't name it after a Daiwa brand, because his name would be Water Zombie.
Could be a good nickname, but hey.
I know Mum and Dad probably look like zombies at 3 in the morning when they're doing all the baby things you have to do. But one thing, you know, we're lamenting not being able to fish the Open this year because of COVID, but come when we can reschedule the Open too, you'll be back to give it another crack, trying to win that perennial trophy back?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, most definitely. You know, as long as it fits in with work, being midweek comp, you know, yeah, I'll be doing everything I can to get there for sure. I'm still going to be in lockdown for quite a while yet, you know. This one being, you know, in the state that he's in, he's still sort of got, you know, what do they call it? The lung sort of, the lungs are tiny, so you worry about them with that sort of, you know, virus getting around. So we've locked ourselves right down, mate. We've gone nowhere, and yeah, as long as that sort of thing is gone, I'm there.
Happy days. Well, mate, I really appreciate you joining us tonight on Lockdown Live. It's been a great time catching up with a lot of guys like yourself there, and I'd really like a thank you to both of you guys. You're a great ambassador for the sport, the Danielle. You make it all happen behind the scenes. ABT #1 scorer. We miss you, and we look forward to getting you back to an event one day.
We'll be there.
I miss you guys too.
We're looking forward to bringing him to, you know, quite a few events up into the time when he, you know, gets to school age. We'll be. Yeah, the next 5 years will be good. It will be good.
Well, you know, I think he's going to learn maths real quick, because he's going to have to learn how to put those scorecards up in numerical order. So if you're going to be a mathematical genius, we'll make sure of that.
Maths is easy. Just put a dollar sign in front of it. That's easy.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us, and appreciate your time on Lockdown Live. Thank you.
No worries. G'day to everybody out there as well. Hope you're enjoying the Friday night. Cheers.